Good morning, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about the topic of money gurus and how they encourage building your own kingdom. The more I see money gurus promote and advertise on social media, the more red flags go up on my scammer radar. I define a money guru as someone who often unceasingly tries to convince others to follow him or her because she seemingly has, quote, the answers regarding how to get rich so you can use God's money to build your kingdom here on earth. I do not consider myself to be a money guru. God's money is God's. We are simply to be stewards of his money and therefore are to use it to build his kingdom. We are to use his money to build up ourselves spiritually and to build and to support others along their journey. I've noticed that there are some disturbing traits among money gurus. Probably the most deceitful one revolves around the illusional magic formula that, quote, anyone can use to get rich. There is no one-size-fits-all formula that will work for everyone so that they can get rich. I'm talking about financial riches here. In order for such a formula to work, everyone would need to have the same opportunities, privileges, circumstances, and other factors of life, which would need to be stationary. Anyone can take advantage of someone or something that doesn't move and offers no resistance. The fact is, there are too many ever-changing and inequitable variables from one person to the next in order for such a formula to work for everyone. The guy living in the middle of the jungle in Africa doesn't have the same opportunities as the guy in suburbia born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Any advice that's biblical needs to be universally applicable. Anything that Jesus said to do, anyone can do it. Jesus said to pray, to heal, to love, to forgive, etc. All of these things are universally applicable. The money guru preys on man's desperation for answers so he can escape a life of poverty. What the money guru won't tell you directly is that you need at least one of two traits to become financially rich in this world. First, you need to be willing to take advantage of your fellow man. Why? Because your fellow man has money, and once your wheels of manipulation in your head start turning, your motives in acquiring your fellow man's money will be evil. Second, you need to be willing to take a lot of crap from others. In other words, you have to take risks, accept mistreatment, and agree with evil. Again, knowing that your fellow man has the money that could make you rich, we have to be willing to venture outdoors and into the streets and deal with uncomfortable things if we are to acquire riches. The recluse who watches TV all day from the comfort of his sofa is typically poor. An old friend of mine who is financially rich once told me that he spends all day thinking about money. He is a professed atheist, and I have witnessed his manipulative tactics, which involved giving God's people the short end of the stick. Several years back, I worked a couple of days alongside this friend for a construction company which used to lay underground pipe for new roads. I only worked under the table for a couple of days, but my friend worked as a regular payroll employee. The whole time my friend worked for this employer, he was planning to start his own company, laying pipe too. Sometime later, after my friend had started his own company and was transitioning from working for the employer to running his own company full-time, he told me that he had been working behind the scenes subversively, slyly convincing all the customers of his employer that the employer was a bad guy. My friend thus managed to get all of those customers to hire him so he could make it, while leaving his soon-to-be former employer in financial ruin. This is more proof that the love of money is the root of all evil. When your heart is set on shortchanging your fellow man in order to acquire money for oneself, evil motives will be at play. God knew this, which is why he tells us not to labor to be rich. Proverbs 23:4. He knew man's heart would operate in wickedness if we were set on getting the riches of this world. Check out the following scriptures, both by themselves and in context, which warn against us building up treasure for ourselves here on earth. Luke 12:21 says, "So is he that layeth up treasure for himself, and is not rich toward God." Luke 12:34, which says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." James 5:3 says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. In Psalm 52:7, lo, this is the man that made not God his strength, but trusted in the abundance of his riches, and strengthened himself in his wickedness. 3 additional dangers that the money gurus tend to promote are these. 1, you should exacerbate your God complex. 2, there is no money in healthy people. And 3, pride of ownership. When money gurus encourage you to build your own kingdom, they're basically encouraging you to exacerbate your God complex. When the kingdom is yours, then you are the God of it. When the kingdom is God's, he is the God of it, and you are his steward. When your efforts are concentrated on building your kingdom, you tend to neglect others. You tend not to take care of them. You tend to forget about them. When you neglect others, you are not investing in them. Therefore, you can get a return since you have made no investment. God's kingdom is about building others up and using our riches to invest in them so they can advance in the kingdom. Healthy people have richness of health. If nobody invests in healthy well-being, they won't grow in health. Satan is behind this. How so, Tim? Well, Satan wants people to be sick because he knows there's money in sick. There is money in sick people, and because sick people are less likely to serve God. He knows that the sick person will likely blame God for not making him or her healthy again. That blame leads to resentment towards God and ultimately disobedience and refusal to do God's work. Satan also knows that people tend to follow the money, and there is money in sick people. That's why Satan is working through many industries, especially the pharmaceutical one, to keep people perpetually sick. People that are physically sick tend to be spiritually sick as well. The pitfall you want to avoid is sending your hard-earned money to a greedy money guru, such as a prosperity preacher, in hopes that God will heal you from some malady. God isn't interested in bargaining with you in order to secure a blessing for you. He is interested in your obedience and your integrity in your daily walk. God told me recently, Tim, when people ask you where their next breakthrough is, tell them that it's located right around the corner from obedience. You can't buy healing or breakthroughs from God. God rewards obedience and integrity. You'll see. I want to touch on pride of ownership. It seems to be a rather worldwide sickness, although I'll discuss mainly what I see in the United States. The first red flag should pop up when we see pride. Yes, the sin of pride. Americans have seemingly become so oblivious to how sickening it is when someone says, hey, everybody, look at what I have. This is what this awesome person has acquired. Don't you want to be like me? Don't you want just to envy me now? The Christian with discernment will often see this foolishness right away. The idea behind pride is that one is one's own God and that no credit should be given to the God, and that self-glorification is totally justified. God frowns upon this attitude. Satan was kicked out of heaven due to pride. So why should we boast of things we don't even own? God owns everything we have. He's the maker of it all. We are just here to use it for his glory, the things that he has provided. Sometimes we want to own things just so we can feel like a somebody, someone who has value. Jesus was never a big real estate mogul. He knew better than to trust in earthly riches and material goods. If this pride of ownership thing has been an issue in your heart, ask God, Lord, what do you want me to do with the things you have entrusted me with? Tell me how I can use these things to glorify you and build your kingdom. Once God sees your obedience in this matter, he will bring prosperity your way. So those are my thoughts on money gurus and how they can be dangerous for your life and the life of those around you. They encourage you building your own kingdom and not God's kingdom. They're taking advantage of man's sinful desire to build his own kingdom and acquire riches so that he can be his own God and distance himself from needing the God. So that's something to think about. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. And I look forward to sharing again soon. God bless you.